Okay. Hello, everybody. Hi, hi. Thank you for the follow. Good day. Have a problem. Keep saying too many arguments. Should be using GitHub desktop. Should be using GitHub desktop. I need to do something quickly. Okay, cool. Thank you for the heart, me. Yes, you can proceed without git bash. Okay. I'll drop the group. Thank you for the follow. Thank you for the follow. YouTube, can you hear me? I know I'm using a different mic. Unless I use it there. Is it much better? Prince Kennedy, is it much better? Also, there'll be no music on YouTube. The copyrights are becoming a lot, so no more music on YouTube. Oh, I think I might be muted. You can't hear me. Is it loud enough? So who's saying they can't hear me? YouTube, it's better. I can hear 50% now. It's on the max. Let me try and change it. YouTube, is it much better now? This is for YouTube. And TikTok, the music is not loud enough. It's not loud, right? Should just be a bit low in the background. Okay, perfect. Cool, we can get started. Is the layout fine on YouTube on TikTok? Because I'm trying a landscape where you guys can at least see better. Also, I enabled something on YouTube. If you put if you put forward slash and type a message, it will do text to speech so I can hear you. So you can just do forward slash, type a message, and then I'd be able to hear you. Or it would do like text to speech. But you must be following me to be able to do it, and should have, yeah, should be following me. But God, just give it 2 minutes and then we can get started. Thank you, Karabo. Yeah, 100%. This is not on YouTube, only on TikTok. So TikTok will do the forward slash works only on TikTok, not on YouTube. I'll try and sort it out for YouTube as well. So Ivan, how are you? I go live um at 8 on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday will depend, and then Friday, Saturday, Sunday also depends. Thank you for the follow. Okay, give me 2 seconds. That part is a bit loud. Okay, cool. I think we can get started. I also go live and hope to, yeah, 100%. I'll try to visit. Yes, week 3. Here we are. How is it going so far, guys? Sure you guys are getting it, or if you're not, we're gonna get it 100%. Lessons can go for 2 hours, 3 hours. It just depends on if people get it quicker. Thank you so much for the popular vote. Yes, they are recorded, so lessons are available on YouTube, and you'd be able to watch them on YouTube. We are live on YouTube as well as TikTok. If you registered for the App Academy, um, FNB App Academy, before the registration's closed, Sponiso, once you're done with the whole thing, they'll obviously let us know when there's assessments, if there's assessments, as well as submitting work. Then at the end of the entire 9 weeks, then they'll announce when certificates come out. Yes, classes are recorded. Classes are recorded, so you will be able to watch it on YouTube. Can we get started? Thank you for the follow. Cool. No, it will be very hard with the phone, Jay. It will be very hard, especially when it comes to GitHub. Thank you for the heart me. Okay, cool. Let's get started. So we are now on week 3, and by now we've done the foundations of web development using HTML and CSS, and we built our first web app or website. So it is a big milestone. Thank, thank you for the follow. It is a big milestone, and we gonna obviously learn more. So on Friday we learned about software development lifecycle, and there was a case study for Pine City Zoo. I think I need to switch it off for now. It is a bit disturbing, very very disturbing. Thank you for the roses. I think I have to now hold it up to my head or to my mouth to be able to hear you. Thank you for the follow. These are very loud actually, yo. No, 100%. If you send something in the DM city card, I'll definitely look at it. Can you hear me now? Is it much better? YouTube. How does it sound now, YouTube? Is it much better? Okay, let us continue. Better. Okay, perfect. Let's continue. So yeah, like I said, we did the Pine City Zoo. Then we explored how you go from an idea to a fully fledged app. So you need to plan, obviously. Then you do your designing, and you always think ahead. So now it's our turn to actually do this. So we'll be building our own version of the Pine City Zoo app. And then I'm guessing this would be a website. Thank you for the perfume. So the first part we need to do is setting up. Before we can get started, thank you for the follow. Before we can get started, we need to set up an environment like we did by creating a folder called Pine City Zoo, and we can create this in wherever we want. So let's get started with that. So the first thing, YouTube, just to confirm, can you hear me? The first thing we need to do is we need to open our file explorer. So file explorer, you'd find it on your taskbar, and we'll go to our documents, and we had a folder called development. So under development is where we'd place our folder. So which folder are we creating? They want us to create a folder named Pine City Zoo. Pine City Zoo. So you can right click and go to new folder. So you can just right click and click on new folder. Then we're gonna write Pine City Zoo. So the way I'm writing it is I'm adding a dash between each word. So this is just for GitHub. So we can post it or push it to GitHub. So we'll just say Pine dash City dash Zoo. Pine City Zoo. And the problem is it's how it's been, man. I don't know. Thank you for the follow. Is it much better? YouTube. Cool. Okay, let's just continue. So we created a folder called Pine City View, right? So we created our folder called Pine City View, and then we need to now make an images folder in Pine City View. So we can double click into Pine City View or Zoo. Sorry, why do I keep saying View? So we need to create. Thank you for the follow. We need to create Pine City Zoo, a folder in there called images. So we click on new, click on folder, and write images. Okay, right. Sorry, that's very disturbing. Yo, cool. We click on images. Okay, so oh no, we create a new folder called images. Now let's go back to the email, and we need to download our images. So there's a folder or button here called download images, and you can just click on download the images. Okay, download the images, and this is what you'll get. So we'll get entire GitHub repo with the different stuff we'll be needing for this specific week. Okay, so you can click on code and just under the drop down you'll see something that says download zip. So you'll see this download zip, then you can click on download zip. Okay, so download your zip file, and then under your downloads it will finish. Then we can just go to our downloads, and this is the file we were looking for. So it's App Academy week 3. Then we'll double click on it. This will be what we get. Okay, this will be what we get. So you'll click on extract all. So this is just so we can extract whatever's in the folder or the zip file. Now what we need to do is click on extract, and then it will start extracting it all onto downloads. Then you'll double click into high vision, you'll double click into the file, into the folder, and you'll see Pine City Zoo images, and then you can just open that. Then you can just copy this entire folder, go back to where your folder is, your Pine City Zoo folder is, and just paste it right there. So you can just copy and paste. It will automatically add all those pictures into this. You see, all of it is in here. Okay, so what I did is I downloaded the folder, and then inside I opened Pine City Zoo images, and I copied the image. So I just copied this folder, pasted it into where our website is. So right there, just paste it right there. Okay, now once we're done with that, let's go back to the email and see what is next. Cool. So They say before we can start building our app, we need to set up the environment, which we did. We added our images folder, and now we need to now do the website's homepage. So this is how the website's homepage would be. So we can now go to VS Code. So let's just open up our VS Code. VS Code. Open up VS Code. Cool, so we've opened up VS Code, right? And if you had a folder open before, you might see that folder open. So what you can do is you can click on File and click on Close Folder. So there's something said Close Folder, so you can just click on Close Folder, right? And then it will have a fresh new window. Now we need to open up a new folder, okay? So we'll click on Open Folder, and we need to now find where we created that new folder called Pine City Zoo, and that is under our documents. So you'll open up Documents, Development, and then Pine City View. Just click on Select Folder, and yeah, then there we go. So our images are already here. Now we need to have a new file called index.html. So we remember what the index.html is, right? That's our homepage file. So that's the file that will serve our website. Okay, so we'll click on New File, and then we'll type index.html. Index.html. Okay, now we've got our index.html right here. Cool. So now we need to now do the homepage of this website, and how they did it is the first thing we'll obviously have to do is have our HTML structure. Okay, HTML structure, you'll type HTML, open HTML5, and it will automatically populate the HTML structure for you. Okay, then our title. Okay, in our title, we're adding the title of the website. Remember, we are now doing a website for Pine City Zoo. So obviously the name of the website or the title would be Pine City Zoo. Therefore, we need to come here and type Pine City Zoo. Just like that, Pine City Zoo. Then for now, we can just open with live server. Then we'll keep looking at changes as we go through the entire site. Okay, so you see at the top here, our title has now changed to Pine City Zoo. Okay. Yes, this is. Oh, I'm moving fast. Let me know if I'm moving too fast. Sorry, Miss A. I'll try to slow it down a bit. But yes, it is recorded. It is recorded. I didn't think I was going fast. Sorry, guys. Oh, sorry. Okay. So, what I did is, we created a new folder, right? Created a new folder called Pine City Zoo in our development folder. So created something called Pine City Zoo. Yes, you can. We created a folder called Pine City Zoo. Okay, then in Pine City Zoo we created another folder called Images. Okay, Images. Then we now need to download those images. We need to download those images. Okay, I'll come back to you, Blungisi, now. We need to download those images. So where are those images? They are on the email. So on the email, there's a button saying download the images. Cool. When you click on download the images, it will take you to GitHub. So there is our GitHub. Okay, there's our GitHub. And what you need to do is you need to click on code. So there's this green button right here called code. So you'll click on code and you'll see this saying download zip. Download zip. Okay, so you now need to click on download zip, and it will download the entire folder for you. So once you're done downloading the zip, you need to go to your downloads folder. So here is our downloads folder. Okay, this is our downloads folder right here, and we'll click on, yes, we go through them most of the days, yes. And no, I can't hack. So we'll click on App Academy. The folder we just downloaded is a .zip. It's a .zip folder. Okay, .zip. Cool. So now what needs to happen is you'll click on that zip folder and it will open up a new window, okay, with another folder in there. So you'll also click into that, and here are the different stuff we'll be using for this website. Okay, now you need to open up this compressed folder, being Pine City Zoo images. Okay, so you'll double click in that and you will see images. Are we still together? You will see images. Okay, then you can just click on images, right click and click copy, right click and click copy, and go back to your download or to your development folder. Okay, this is your development folder. So we created that folder called Pine City View. Remember, we go into that and we have our images. So we had created our images folder saying images. Then all you can do is, after copying, you can right click and click on paste. This will automatically add all those images into this folder for you, and then you are done. Yeah, if you're comfortable with Phoenix Code, you can use Phoenix Code. And then Blungisi, how do you change the live server to Chrome again? Oof, I'm not too sure about that one, because Chrome, it should be your default browser, then it should automatically open up with Chrome. Yeah, I think your default folder should be Chrome. But cool, let's continue. Okay, so the next part is after adding our images, we need to create a new file called index.html. So the way we'll do that is we need to now open up VS Code. So we need to open up VS Code. So open up your VS Code, and then you'll see this with no index.html because you haven't created it yet. Okay, so all you have to do is you'll click on this file with the plus, but how you'll click on this file with the plus, and after clicking on that, you'll see this to create a new file. So you can say index.html, and you'll create your index.html file. Now the next thing you need to do is you need to type HTML:5, which will give us an Emmet abbreviation to populate our entire file with the structure of HTML. Okay, so you'll click on this and click enter, and it will populate for us. Okay, then remember, now we're creating a site for Pine City Zoo. So your client is Pine City Zoo, therefore the name of the website would be Pine City View. And where do we change that? Here by title, we'd add a title, Pine City Zoo. Yeah, so you'll add a title, Pine City Zoo. Cool. So you've added Pine City Zoo as your, thank you for the roses. You've added Pine City Zoo as your document title, right? Now, once you're done with that, let's go back to our email. Cool. Now we're on our email, right? This is now. So it says we need. So we're done basically with lesson one. Lesson one was just setting up the development environment. So we did that. We created our folder called Pine City Zoo. We've added it into our websites folder, us being development folder, and we added all our images in Pine City Zoo. So lesson one is complete. We are done with lesson one. Okay. Is there any questions so far? Are we still good? So we can continue to lesson two. Are we all good? Can we go to lesson two? Lesson two. Yes. YouTube, are we still following? Sorry, Letoya. So lesson one was just us setting up the development environment. So what you can do is you can go to our YouTube and you'd be able to quickly rewind because it was quite quick. So the YouTube is at Simphiwe Radebe __. So we're live on YouTube and then you can just rewind right there. Cool. So let's go on to lesson two. Lesson two is now making the home page. Okay. So making the home page. So in this lesson, we'll be doing our app's homepage, being the website, and it's just a little. That's fine. If you did that, that's fine. But we'll definitely get to that of pushing to get up. Cool. So we've created our folder. Our development environment is ready. Now we need to create this entire homepage. So let's break it down step by step on how they create this entire homepage. Okay. So the first part is they added their CSS, but there's no CSS at the moment. So this is just a formality of us adding our CSS. So CSS, again, the way you add your CSS is a link element. So this is the link element link tag, and in the link tag you require certain attributes. The attributes that are required is the relationship being what is this link for, or what this link represents, being a style sheet. So this is a style sheet. Okay, so it's link rel style sheet, and where is the style sheet? So you'll put href and it's gonna be called style.css. okay, style.css, and you just close. Just like that, we've linked our CSS. Cool, we're done with that part, but we don't have the style.css yet, so just add this line and we'll use it or reference it at the end when we start adding our CSS. So for now, we're working on our HTML, being the base homepage. Okay, so after adding our style.css, we're done there. City card, okay, no problem. Okay, cool, let's continue. The next part we need to do is we need to now add a header. So we're adding a div, being a container. Okay, and this div, we're giving it an ID of header. So we basically saying that in this site, this container will be a container for our header. So the ID header is so we can reference it later to make changes style wise or navigation wise. Okay, so this is just us giving it a unique name for this container. So remember, a div is a container of elements. Okay, so a div, you use it to contain certain elements within your HTML file. So this will be all the elements required to create a header. Okay, now in this header, think of the header as basically your nav bar. So this would be our nav bar basically, but we'll call it header. And in the header, we need an image. So you know, in our, you can't see. Oh, sorry. Yo, my mistake. Sorry, guys. I'm so sorry. There we go. That should be better. Sorry, guys. Let's go back just 2 seconds. Cool. So now we should be able to see. Yeah, so the first thing we need to do is create a div, which is a container. Okay, this is the container. We're giving it an ID of header so that we can reference it in our CSS, as well as if we need to use any navigation. So it's just an ID of header. Okay, ID of header, giving it a unique name for this entire block. So just this would be called ID. So whenever you're referencing it anyway, I mean, would be called header. So wherever you're referencing it anyway, you'd be referencing header. Cool. We should be together there. So now, like I said, the header is your nav bar which would have all your different elements, your logo, your home, about, wherever. So the first thing we'll add is an image. Okay, so our image would be our logo. So if we added all our images correctly, I've been live for 38 minutes. If we added all of them correctly, there's this called logo.png. This is the logo we'll be adding on with our header. Okay, so this is our logo we'll be adding. Cool. So in here, we'll just add images / okay, let me do the syntax again with you. So it's image src being source equals double quotes. Okay, equals, then double quotes. Inside your double quotes, you'll write images / logo.png. Okay, thank you so much for the rose. First gift, thank you so much. Wow. Cool. So it's your logo, and you can add an alt text. Remember, we said alt is for screen readers, for people that are visually impaired, to be able to know what this image is. So it's just a description. So we can just say Pine City logo, just like that, and we're done. So we've added our image. Okay, so we've added our image. Let's open up this on our browser and quickly see how this looks so far. Thank you so much for the Rosie. So there's our image. Cool. So you see how big that is. Obviously you don't want it to take up the entire space, so let's go back and let's continue. So that's our header, right? Now we need the items we'd have at the top. So being your, this is Pine City Zoo, so we'll have animals, the map, as well as places. So those are the three stuff we'll implement within the site. So we just need someone to be able to click on that and navigate to those different sections. So I hope I'm not fast, still good pace, we're still following. This is our header. We're just adding our image in our header, then we're done there. Okay, then now we're adding another div. So we can add a div. We're following. Perfect. So we'll add another div, and this div will have an ID of tabs at the top. Does it matter when does one use ID in class? Yes, so if you wanted to use class, you could have used class. So it just depends. They do the same thing. Class would be, the way you'd reference it in your CSS would be dot header, and if it's an ID, you'd use hashtag. Sorry, we'll try and go just a bit slower. Yes, we are doing HTML and CSS. We're doing lesson, what is it, week 3. Okay, cool. So we can use ID or you can use header. They do the same function. It's just how you'll reference it within your CSS. Cool. So we're adding a new div with an ID of tabs top. Okay, tabs top. So we're just saying that this will be the tabs at the top, because you can describe however you want, but it's best to be as descriptive as possible as to what the element would be doing when you give it an ID or a class. So this is just the tabs top, and the tabs top will contain hyperlinks. Okay, so we'll have 3 hyperlinks. Thank you for the follow. The first hyperlink would be a href equals hashtag. So the reason we're adding hashtag is we're saying don't go anywhere for now. We're not gonna take you anywhere. So this hashtag represents, normally it will take you to the top of the page. So if you are at the bottom of the web page, as soon as you click on the link that has hashtag, it will just take you up to the top. How do you undo deleted? I deleted mine. Just press Control Z, or press on Command if you're on Windows, Command Z. So it's Control plus Z or C command. That's for someone who has deleted their code. Cool. Let's continue. So the next part, like I said, this just is you just adding something for now, so that when someone clicks on this link, it will just take you back to the top of the page. But we're gonna update it to take us to the correct section for this hyperlink. Okay, cool. Thank you everyone for being on the live. Thank you for the follows, the taps. Yeah, no, I'm not new in coding. Cool, let's continue. The next part is we need to add the hyperlink. So what is this hyperlink? This one will be called animals. This one is called animals. And after adding animals, you can just close your tag. So the way you close your tag is you just add angle bracket. Thank you so much for the follow. Angle bracket / an A. This will close this hyperlink, and you're done with the first hyperlink. My div was red because I did not close one of my tags. So hence, when you don't close, you'll end up seeing something will be red. Thank you so much for the gift. You'll see something red. As an example here, if I don't close this tag, it will be red on the div. But here we are. Everything is fixed. Okay, I'll scroll up so my webcam doesn't cover it again. Is it only red that allows you to hover over the logo? I think so. I think it's that, because here you'd have to press Control and click to be able to see how the logo would look. Then you can view it in the IDE like this. But cool, no, let's continue. So the next part is we have our first link, right? And the next link would be map. So you can just copy this entire link and paste it here and change the name to map. So you can just double click, change the name to map. So you can just copy this link. You can you just press and drag, then you'll click on copy, and then you can just click on paste. So copy is Command C, Control C, or then to paste is Command V, Control V. Make sure you change this to map. So our next one is map. Then we'll just add one more. We'll add one more, and the last one will be called places. So these are our 3 tabs that we'll have at the top. Okay, these are the 3 tabs we'll have at the top, and we are done with tabs top. Is everyone still following? Are we still together? Thank you, Miss A. We're still following. Cool. All right, so everyone is still with me. We're all together. Let's continue. Now the next part, we now have to make our main page, how our page would look. Thank you, Miss A. Yes, these lives, we do them almost every day. Almost every day. Okay, since we're together, we can continue. Now we want to do our main page. So this will be called main home. 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock, all the time at 8 o'clock. You are a bit late, but yeah, you can just try and rewind. 8 p.m. Yes, sorry, 8 p.m. 8 p.m. Cool, let's continue. The next part is we're adding our main home section. So we'll add a div, and this div will have an ID of main dash home. Okay, please make sure you add a dash. No, I'm using VS Code. We're using VS Code. Please make sure you add a dash between your tabs if it's 2 words, so that it's easier when you reference it. And if it has a space, it's a bit harder to reference. But cool, we've got main home. So now we're adding our main home page. Okay, and then here we'll add an image. So we are adding an image. Thank you so much, Kari. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Yeah, so we're adding an image, and we can have a source. And which image are we adding? A map. Okay, we're adding a map. So image source, and inside here we add images / map. Here's our map picture. Let's see how this map picture actually looks. This is our map. So this is the map we'll be adding on the page. Okay, now the next part is we want to have a width. So we want to resize it to have a width of 100. So this is just so that it uses the entire width of the page. So it must not just stick to its original sizing. It will stretch or fill the entire screen. So I hope we understand that part. Then again, this is not necessary, but it's a good practice. Alt text, where you're just adding what this picture is. So this is a map of Pine City Zoo. Cool, so now you've added. Okay, I see this thing is disturbing as well. Also, one of the alerts are covering. Let's try and make it smaller. Cool, perfect. Let's continue. So we've added our alt text. This is just for screen readers again, so that when someone is on your site and they can't see, or they're visually impaired and they're using a screen reader, it will just tell them that this is an image of Pine City Zoo. Cool, then you can close it, and we're done with this main home div. Okay, now the next part is we're having tabs at the bottom. So we can add another div, and this div will have an ID of tabs bottom. Okay, ID of tabs bottom. Were we all good with the main home? Have we all followed together? But cool, now we're on tabs bottom. So we added tabs top, now we're adding tabs bottom. Cool, so we add div ID tabs dash bottom, and close your div, so it will automatically close it for you. Okay, then now we need to add hyperlinks again. So if you're lazy, you can just copy the ones you have here at the tabs top. This is lesson 2, week 3, lesson 2. Cool. Pilo, what's up? We're still following. Perfect. Thank you so much. So what we need to do is we need to copy this entire. You can copy this if you want, or you can type it out yourself. but you can just copy and paste it. Oh, thank you so much, Sim. I appreciate it. You can just copy this link we have there at the top called tabs top. Then you can just paste it here. Then you just change this to weather. Then we'll just add one more, paste it, and then we have this as feedback. Okay, feedback. Yes, the lessons are on YouTube. You can go to YouTube. We are live on YouTube, but the lessons are up on YouTube as well. Nah, it's not as complicated. We're building websites, so we're just teaching people how to build websites. It's the FNB App Academy. Yes, they can join. Poluso definitely can join. Thank you so much for the GGs. Cool. Are we all together here? Have we added the tabs bar? So we just have two hyperlinks, one for weather and one for feedback. And that's all we have for tabs bottom. And just like that, we are done with this page. So we're done with this entire page. Let's see how this page looks. So if we go to, this is how it looks. So we've got your link up here. We've got our hyperlinks, which would take us to animals, map, or places. Then we've got weather and feedback, and here's the map. YouTube handle is same as my TikTok. It's at Simphiwe Radebe __. So it's a double underscore. Cool. So does everyone have the same screen or same page like me? Do we have the same thing? Are we all on the same page? So we can continue. And do let me know if you guys think I'm going too fast, so I can try and slow down a bit. But we should have this. All of us should have this. It should look like this. Sunny Lisiwe, what's wrong with lesson 3? Yes, on same page. Perfect. Sunny Lisiwe, please just put your comment as to what's the problem. But let's continue. So let's go back to the email and see what we did. So let me explain it again from here. Okay. So the first part is our head tag, which is standard. So this is just us adding information of the site in our head tag. Cool, that's standard. Then the first thing here is our header. So this is our logo right here. This is our logo. This is our header tag, or header section. Then we've got tabs top. So tabs top will be the navigation items you'll have at the top. So this is without CSS, remember. So this is just plain HTML. So these all the different tabs, you see they are hyperlinks, and those are the tabs top. Then you've got main home. Now main home would be this map itself. So what all those things mean? Head don't tag. So this is just to basically say within the HTML file, this head tag would be header information or site information. The body would be content which will be served onto the website. Cool, let's continue. And then tabs bottom. So that was the three sections they required us to add. They required us to add the header, tabs top, main, home. Okay, we'll check that now. And then tabs bottom. Cool, so that's what we've added. Okay, now let's go to lesson 3. Everyone is still with me, we're still together. So we can move on to lesson 3. Just make sure no one is stuck. And now we're moving on to lesson 3. The meta. Oh, the meta. Yes, so this is still site information. So it's just adding metadata of the site itself. So this is just to help with responsive websites. And then this is just the character set of the site itself using character set UTF-8. but we don't really touch that at the moment, so we're just learning the basics for now. Okay, cool. Now we on lesson 3, styling the header section. Okay, so now we want to style this, because as you can see, this is just plain and not the best, right? So we can style it, and now we need to create a new folder. Okay, so to create a new folder, we'll open up our Explorer on the side here. Okay, open up our Explorer on the side right here, and we'll click on this new file. Thank you so much for the heart me, appreciate it, Tando. This is the new file. Okay, click on new file and we'll write, okay, oh, don't do that because it's adding in your images. So make sure you select on this empty space here. Thank you so much, Tando, I appreciate it. Make sure you select on this empty space here, then click on new file and then write style.css. So style.css. We're creating a new file called style.css. This is style. Okay, cool. So we're adding a new folder called style.css. Then click on enter, and this is our style.css file. Now, this is where it's gonna look a bit nicer. The first thing we're adding is we want to make some edits to our body. So our body being this entire element, right? So that's the body of the website. So you'll just type body, then open these curly braces. So make sure it's not square and it's not circle. It should be these curve brackets. So open up with these curve brackets, curly brackets, and then just click on enter in between them two. And the first thing we add is padding. So for our padding, we're removing any padding within the site, as well as the margin. We're removing the margin. So the reasons for these two is we're making sure that in our site there's no padding anywhere and there's no margin anywhere. Like, we are removing any default margin and default padding that will be added on our elements. Have you linked your style? Yes, we linked it when we started. So if you did not link it, the first thing we needed to do here is link our style sheet. So this is important to make sure your style.css is linked to your HTML. So this is how we link our style.css, and make sure the name you have here is the name of your file. So you see the name of my file here is style.css, then here it will also be style.css. If you named it style7.css, make sure here you also say style7.css, because you are referencing a file and the file name needs to look exactly the same. So ours will be style, so just make sure your naming is the same, style.css, on both sides. Then you'll make sure they are linked together. Cool. Now, like I said, we're removing any padding and margin. And what's a style sheet? So it's necessarily that style sheet. So it's a sheet used to style the entire website. So you're just saying that all of these elements or all of these tags that I'm styling here, you need to display that on the website in the style format that you have designed within your style sheet. Okay, cool. Are we still together? Villa, yes, we're gonna put it on our GitHub. We're gonna put this on GitHub as well. Okay, cool. We've removed any padding and any margin. Yes, we open up a new file. It needs to be called style.css. Open up a new file called style.css, and then make sure it's called style.css, so that when you link it here in your head tag, it's exactly the same as what you've named on the side here. That's the new file. Cool. Now the next part is we need to be in our style.css. We added padding to the body. Now you see the body, I did not add dot body because it's not a class, it's an element, right? So we're calling an element within HTML called body, and we are making changes to that body. Now we've removed any margin and any padding, And then we also want a specific font family for the entire site. So they suggested Helvetica. Okay, so this is the font family they suggested, so we'll use Helvetica, and you're done with your body. So let's go and see what has happened so far. Okay, cool. So still the same. It's just removed any padding and margin on the side, so everything is stuck to the border. So when we make our changes, there's no margin and padding affecting us. Okay, cool. Now remember what we did here. We use this as an ID. So the way we call IDs in CSS is we use hashtag. So now we want to make changes to our header. So we'll say hashtag header because the name of the ID is header. If you used class here, if you use class, you need to say dot header. So that's the difference between the two. If it's an ID in CSS, you need to put hashtag before you add the name. As you see, when I hover over this, it says element class header. This is how it should look, but we want to use an ID, so we make sure we put hashtag. GitHub is used to store our code as well as collaborate with other developers. So for GitHub, we did it in day 4, I think. If you can go to YouTube, yeah, ish, because it would be hard to explain it now, but we'll get to that. It's just to save our projects. Yes, cool. So we're using hashtag because we have an ID. If you use class, it will be dot, but we're using ID. So in our style.css, we will put header, hashtag header, and have our curve or curly brackets. Click enter. Now we're gonna make changes to this. Okay, so the first element that they speaking of is position. So how must this position be? So there's absolute, fixed, relative, all these different ones. Normally it's sticky, but here they want us to have a fixed position. And if you're saying you want a fixed position, it means you need to specify where it needs to be. And to specify that, we're saying at the top we want the location to be at 0, and on the left we want the location to be at 0 as well. So that will move it to your top left corner. It will move the header to the top left corner, right? So the entire header will be at the top left corner. We're still good, right? I hope it's still good. Then Z index. The easiest way to explain Z index is think of overlays, right? On the website, every element has a Z index of 0. It has a Z index of 0. So there's X, Y, and Z. In 3D, you've got X, Y, and Z. So your Z index would be elevation. Basically, think of it as elevation. So if you see these two right here, my two hands right here, this would be element of 0, Z index 0. And if we add 1, it would be above it. So 2, 3, whatever. So your Z index determines if it will be above the element or below an element. That's what the Z index is for. So here we're just adding a Z index of 500 so that we are sure that our header will always be above all the elements. You could even add it as 1. It's the same thing, but 500 in case you have another element where you've added 3 as an example by mistake. This will not ever go above the header itself. That's what the Z index is for. So here we're just adding 500. If you wanted 5,000, you add 5,000. If you wanted 2, you'll add 2, but make sure it's not below 1. That's what Z index is for. Then the next part is your width. So the width of this, we just want it to be 100%. Yeah, that's just saying we're using the entire width of the entire element. And then the height. Now the height, we want to have a fixed height because we want it to be a certain size. So to do that, we'll type height colon and we add a height in pixels. So we want it to be 80 pixels. So the height of the element must be 80 pixels. Width is this way, left to right. Height is top and bottom. That's what the height is for. Okay, and then now the next part is adding a background image. So we want a background image on our header, and to do that we type background image. Okay, and after typing background image, you need to pass in a URL. What's the URL for? The URL is to say where is this image located. So you can just say URL, open your brackets, and inside here have single quotes, and why height in pixel and not percentage? Because we are setting a specific height. We're not saying do it at 20% or 50%. We want to set a specific height. Kuti, it must always be 80 pixels long, or how is it, tall? Yeah, cool. So in our URL we need to now see where our image is located. So the image we're adding here is wood-bg. This is what we're adding on our background. Okay, this will be the background we'll be adding. Oof, that's very pixelated. Okay, let's see how it looks. So we say images /wood-bg. okay, this is just to specify that in this element, this header element, we want to also have a background image, and the background image is located here. Then background repeat. First, let me show you how it looks without the background repeat. So let's go to our web page and see how it looks so far. So do you see how it looks? This is our header. I think when dealing with images we use pixels for the quality. In the long run, how would it be beneficial to use pixels instead of percentage in relation to screen size? So okay, no, so what's the name, Simphiwe, when you're saying images for pixels, it's not necessarily for the quality. When we're saying pixels, we're just setting a specific width and height. So the percentage is just using the full 100% of the entire element itself. Thank you so much for the heart me, Ansi. And then when it comes to height, even here you could have had 100% height, but now the problem is doing that, it will use the entire height of the header itself. So what we want to use is use a specific height. You're restricting it to say only 80 pixels, not more, not less. Be exactly at 80 pixels. Thank you so much, BQ Pro. I appreciate it. Cool. So then we just want a background repeat and repeat X. So this is basically just, oh, thank you so much, NC. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I really appreciate it. Cool. So we've added our background image. Where am I going now? We've added our background image. Repeat X is you basically showing you want it to repeat on the x-axis, right? Not, yes, 80 pixel will remain the same even on a smaller screen. So you've set it exactly. So when it comes to now working on different screens, that's where your responsive design comes in, where you'd have media queries to say if it's a mobile device with screen, this you change it to however you think looks best. Maybe 40 pixel would look best on a mobile. That's where you do your media queries for certain screen sizes. So that's responsive design. Cool. So that's our header. Okay, now we need to fix this image. So you see how this image is not on this at all. So we need to fix it and have it look a bit nicer. Okay, so to do that we say hashtag header and then we want image. So the way we do this, I've explained it before, but I'll explain it again. Oh, so we don't add alt because this is within, this is this is not what's this, an HTML element, right? So this is within CSS, and CSS does not take alternate tags. Sorry. But yes, it would make sense to have alt as well in your background, because it's still an image that is processed on HTML itself. But cool, let me this is your header tag, right? And we want to make a change to the image in header. So this is called selector. You are now selecting something within an ID or class. So to do that, you say header brackets. So you're just saying go into and find an element called image. So let's go back and see how this looks. So what the CSS is doing, it comes onto your HTML file, it looks for header, it sees header, so okay, here's header. But now in header, I want something called images. So it will find this div called header, then come in this div and find, oh, here's image, and then it will do changes to image. So that's the reason we are adding this line. So we want to do changes to that image. But if we just added image as is, every single image within our file would be changed. So we want to specify that a specific image be changed. So you could either have it like this without having a bracket, or have it with the bracket. It works either way. Okay, cool. So after doing this, we do our same brackets, and in our brackets we now want to change the display of the image to be a display block. I'm just teaching people as part of the FNB app academy. And then you have the margin as auto. So this is just to automatically change the margin based on what if your screen changes. It's just automatic. You're not setting a specific margin. So you're not saying I want a margin of 20 pixels outside. You're just setting it to auto, right? And then the height. So here's the people who are asking about percentages here as well. Is it the same without the hashtag? Without the hashtag, it will not work, because header is not an image. Header is, I mean, is not a class. Header is also not a specific element. It is within your div. So the reason we add the ID is so that we can find specific divs or specific elements within our HTML with a specific name. So that's why we add hashtag. Debucho, it's not Python, it's HTML. So Saneliso, what's the problem with the background image on your side? What is it showing? Michael, I will try to do that. The problem is it's a live video, so I think that's why it's not allowing, but I'll try to check as to why it's not doing that. But cool. So there were people asking about the, yes, you can send a DM. What is background repeat? So this just, as it says, it specifies how the images are tiled after they've been sized and positioned. So we are repeating the background on x-axis. So if, let's say, the background was this small and it has to fill this entire gap, it's going to repeat within the x-axis itself. So if you see how the images look here, if you try and zoom in, you can tell there's the line right there. So it's multiple images repeating on the x-axis. Okay. Do you know that ChatGPT writes coding on command? Of course, everyone knows that. Hashtag is good for JS and CSS use classes because React. Are we still together? I'm saying send it. No, we are not together. Send it to me on email. Send it on email so I can try and see what the problem is. What's wrong, Diddy? At the moment, no. At the moment, no. So we're just trying to finish. If we can finish this. Uh, Claire, Clement. Do do you know the ChatGPT that writes coding on command? Oh, my bad. Sorry, Clement. Yes, it's ChatGPT. What do you mean that writes coding on command? ChatGPT writes coding on command itself. Okay, cool. We're now deviating a bit, but let's try and continue. So I'm gonna show you this. So this was the easiest thing I could get to try and explain your display block, right? So if you look at display block, it's like bricks stacked vertically. So you've got horizontal and vertical. So this is just bricks stacked vertically. So a block element takes up the full width of its container even if the content is small, and it starts on a new line pushing anything to the next line. So that's what the display block is. I don't know how was the best way I was going to explain it, but I'll try and think of a better explanation or an analogy I can use. So here we're adding a height, right? The height we're adding here, yes, you can. Thank you, Gerald. Thank you for that, Gerald. Yes, you can, Londi. So here we're adding a height of 70%, right? So we could add, again, we could have added 80% if you want. I mean 80 pixels or 30 pixels. But now within this header of 80 pixels, we want to take up 70% of this height. So we want this image to take up 70% of this height. Remember, we've already set a specific height for header on its own. Now in header, we have 80 pixels. So we have 80 pixels basically to play around with. And we want our image to only take up 70% of that 80 pixels. So here you can use percentage if you want. So I hope you get that part. Okay, cool. The next part is adding a padding to the top. Padding top, okay? So padding top will add 15 pixels, sorry. And this is just adding padding there at the top. So do you see how it looks now? So from it being big, we've now reduced it. We've set the height to 70%. Let's see how it would look if we set the height to 20%. So do you see how small it looks? Because it's only taking up 20% of this height. Height being the header only. Only the header. So it's just trial and error. If you see how much 16 pixels would normally look, you'd know that okay, 16 pixels is like one, what is it? 16 pixels is one rem. So there's also rem that you use as well. So you could have this as one rem, which would be 16 pixels. So that adds 16 pixels from the top. But that's what the padding does. The padding just adds some spacing from the top, and then the height, just the height, you are just saying take up this much. If I wanted it to take up 60 pixels, remember we have 80 pixels to play around with, right? So if I say take up 60 pixels, do you see how it looks? It's almost taking up almost everything, 70, 80, and we still have that one rem there. So you can now play around, say actually this is a bit big. It's like very close to the bottom, so we definitely can reduce the padding at the top. But you can obviously add percentage. That way you are just taking up percentage of the height itself. So even if you said you only want to take up 50% with this image, this is how it would look with 50%. It will be a bit smaller. So we want it just to be a bit big, not too big. So 70% works for us. Let's see how 70% looks. This is how it looks. And I hope we understand, right? So this is the margin. We're automatically setting out the margin. Height, 70% using this height. Remember we set the height here on header to 80 pixels. So it's using 70% of the 80 pixels. That's what we're doing here because we're using within header. Then the padding top is just adding some padding from the top. If we removed padding top, this is how it would look without padding at the top. See how the bear is now very close to the border at the top. So we want to reduce that a bit. So that's why we added padding at the top to bring it down a bit. How do you put the title in the middle of your header? Which title are you talking about? We don't have a title. Oh, are you talking about this? This is an image, so this is the logo itself, Winning Mindset. So this is basically the title you are seeing. This image is what we did here to set it to be in the middle of our header. Okay, are we still together? How does Flexbox differ from position top left in terms of long-term maintenance wise? I don't follow. What do you mean? Do you want to know what would be the difference if we used a Flexbox instead of using positioned? Is that what you're asking? Sorry, quick question. Way behind, I see there's people who have access to ports. What? Quick question. I'm way behind. I see there's people. Sorry. Was login details sent? If you didn't get login details, just wait a bit. Maybe send another email. But I think they're still sorting all of those stuff out. Okay, so basically, when we're adding our positioning, we're basically saying that we want to position this on the top and left, right? So we want to position this at the top left. So if we wanted it to be right, this is just removing the entire position. So let me show you if we used something else. So you see how is it necessary to, okay, I'll come back to you. So we having a fixed position, think of it as x and y axis. So your fixed position is, you're just saying the top must be at 50-50, x must be at, then right must be wherever. But since we've already set the width to 100%, this makes no change at the moment because we've set the width of the entire header to be 100%. So it's taking up this entire space from right or from left all the way to right. Now with the Flexbox, you can't we just use the image in the HTML? No, because you've got multiple images as well. So you see, if we use the image selector, you'd also now be styling this image, and you don't want to be styling both of the images at the same time. Hence we've got this image source, this image in here. You could add an ID and call just the ID itself, but all we're doing is we're saying in our header, just change this image within our header. So that's the reason why we're not using the selector within the, sorry, my mind is going, within the CSS. Okay, what was the next part? We're done padding top. Ask away. So that's our header now. Div ID, div class. Difference between div ID, div class. So someone did explain it here. So like it's all over the show. Let me find your question again. So you asked, go back. How does the flexbox differ in terms of okay, let me get your answer. So basically, when you're using your flexbox, you having it as responsive as possible, because now if you have a fixed position, that does not change. Like it's not responsive to your different screen sizes. So now if you have a flexbox which is more responsive design, that's where if your screen changes certain ways, it does not affect the positioning of the header itself. But in this instance, we're just using this as an easy win. We could change this to use flexbox, and let me just show you how we do that quickly. So if we used a flexbox here, right? Okay, so we want to make sure we align our items to the center, right? And then so we've now set this to a flex, display flex, aligning the items being every element within the header, and then justify content center, just centering your, oh, why am I saying center? See, and one thing, it didn't pick up my error, but okay. So this justify content space between, so space between being, if you had multiple elements within here, it would just add some space in between each element. This is centering all the elements. If we set start, it should put our images on the start. So let's remove our set index because we don't need that. Then we can have padding. Padding would be the top, we don't need any padding. And then 16 new messages. I'll come back to you already. Padding, and then we have 20 pixels top. So this is XY, and then sorry, not XY. That would be your top, bottom, then left, right. So the reason we have it like this is it's easier than to add like padding top, padding left, padding right. You're adding multiple lines. So if you just do it like this, you're just adding 0, which would be top, bottom, 20 left, right, or vice versa. I always forget the two. W3 Schools is a resource center where you can find different W3 schools. So you can just find different elements, and you will see a lot of examples on what HTML is. So you've got all the different stuff, and you can learn more HTML on W3 schools. So there's layouts, etc. Okay, so display block, I did say it was there. I didn't get the right explanation myself. Let's see what W3 school says. Because I don't know what's the best way I can explain it. Okay, so there you go. So you see, this is W3 schools. Okay, this was actually the best way to actually show it. So yeah, go late. Display block basically adds whatever element is within the block in a new line. So you see how this is display inline, this is display inline block, and this is display block. So you see it goes one new line, it keeps it on its own, and has the next on the next line. This is display inline. So this is basically what display block is doing. It's having it make sure the entire element is in its own new line if there's any other elements within the div itself. Okay, let's continue because we are late now. Cool, so we're done with lesson 4. No, oh, we're on lesson 4 now. We're on lesson 4. So currently this is the site we are experienced, or we have. That's W3 schools. You can always look at it later. Cool, so this was our header, right? I'm not studying, currently working. Oh, this takes forever to play. Okay, cool. Now lesson 4, we need to style our, do I need to go back and explain Zart? So we were on lesson 2, right? Lesson 3. Here's lesson 3, right? So we did body, we added some fonts. Yes, I'm working as a software developer. Then we've got our header, we just positioned it, have it top and right, top left, Z index, I explained that, and then intake the 100%. Ish, I don't want to say it on the live, but yeah. Yeah. Okay, and then yeah, so these are the different CSS codes we've added. KB asked, with pictures, what's wrong with pictures? You should have downloaded pictures on this. This is where you download them. Download the images. Then in the file that you get, you just need to copy the images. Right click, copy, and then paste them in your folder that has your website. Then you should be able to access the images. Cool, let's continue. We're now on lesson 4. Lesson 4 being homepage style top tab. So now we're styling these. Yeah. Now we're styling where is it? This one. Did it stop? Okay, let me just quickly restart this. I didn't study, I'm self-taught. Cool, so now we wanna edit these, right? We wanna edit these. So let's quickly do that. So we need to now go back to our CSS, and we're now working on we are now working on our tab tops. So we'll say hashtag tab dash tabs dash top. Okay, tabs top. So now we're working on this div itself. In this div tab tops, we're gonna edit this so that it looks a bit nicer. Okay, I'll add it on GitHub and then people can just download it. It shows, can you send KB, can you send it to me on email as well? Okay, cool. YouTube is very quiet. Are you guys good? Cool. So the next part is tab tops, right? So again, we'll be using fixed positions, not flex box, not flex. We're using fixed position. So we're just gonna say position fixed, and then you do top. The top we want it to be 80 pixels below, right? And then we want left 0. Okay, YouTube is also fine. Again, we want our JavaScript is still gonna be, oh, thank you so much for the heart, Mishudu. JavaScript is gonna be another thing, but cool. Then we have Z index again. Z index, we just wanted 500 to be in the same line as our Z index. Where was it? I removed it. Going to change this now. Position fixed top 0 left 0 Z index 500. Yeah, so we want our Z index to just be the same as that element up there. So we'll say Z index 500, and then we want a width of 100%. So it'll take up the entire width of the element itself. What does the hashtag mean that identifies ID? Hashtag, just as you said, it identifies the ID, and dot would identify class names. So hashtag is for IDs and dot is for class names. Jackknife, how are you? Cool. So we added a width of 100%, meaning take up the entire width. Z index is your like I said, in 3D you've got X, Y, and Z. In 3D you've got X axis, Y axis, Z axis. So Z is saying that on par we've got 0 Z axis here, and then if I've got 2, you pushing it above this element. So it's just saying you must be Z2 above, so it's moving it on the Z axis, being elevation. Think of it as elevation. Then the next part is we want to add a height. The height check will be 40 pixels and a background color. So they've given us a background color called dark green, so they want us to use dark green. So let's see how that would look. So we've styled some tabs top, and let's see so far how it's looking. There we go. So it's now given it a Z index of 0 and it's placed it below. Yes, as you can see, our Z index is on 500. It can go to 5,000. It just depends on where you want certain elements to be on the Z index. Yes, it moves vertically, but on top of elements. So on top of elements, not necessarily XY axis, but on top of the elements itself. Okay, cool. So we're done with that. Now we want to change the way, this is how it looks so far. So you see, this is the green we've got, and these still look very, very bland, right? So we want to now edit those tags as well. So I hope we're still together. So we've got tabs top, so we're done with that. So it's still the same as what we did for our the order matter. What do you mean? Does in which way? Can it Someone please explain. So what do you mean does order matter? Cool, let's continue. Now the next part is we want to edit our, can I start background color? Yes, order does not matter. So if I removed, no, we don't need padding at the moment. If we feel, maybe let's see how it would look with some padding. So if we say we add padding of 15 pixels, this is how it looks. So if you like it like this, you can add padding. My email address, how do I add text here? Thank you so much for the hot meat, Terrence. Thank you so much, I appreciate it. How are you, brother man? Okay, no, it's fine. My email is simi.sips0706@gmail.com. Oh, there's it coming up now. Good, perfect, my G. Thank you so much for joining. Yeah, that's the email. I don't know, it's gonna show up. Oh, there we go. Let's maybe put it above me. Yeah, that's the email address. Perfect. I read you read my question. When working with Z-index, does it affect other elements paddings? No. So it will affect the positioning. As you can see right now, those elements are now behind this because we've positioned these above and these are not together anymore. So the other stuff we have are now behind these two elements because we've added it as a higher Z index. Okay, cool. So yeah, so if you wanted padding, you can add. If you don't want padding, you don't have to add. And the order does not matter, so it doesn't matter where we add it. Cool. The next part is we want to edit the hyperlinks. So that's tabs dash top, and we want our hyperlinks being our A tag, okay? So in our A tag, the first thing we're going to add a float, and where we want to float our elements would be on the left, okay? Then here's our display block again, so like it's to make it in its own line. And then the width, so out of the 100% that we have here, we want to take up 33%. If you wanted 30%, you can take 30. Then the height, we want to take up 35 pixels of the 40 pixels that we have. So this is 40, then we want to take up 35 pixels, okay? Then the font weight would be how thick you want the font to be. So we can have a font weight of 700. You could say bold, light, medium, whatever, but you can play around with the width of the weight. So you can say 600, see how that looks, 500, 700, however you want. Then we need a color for the text. So color for the text, we want our text to be white, okay? We want it to be white. I'll get to the questions just now. I just want us to just finish this part. Yeah, so we want the color of our text to be white, and then we want to align our text to the center. So we want all our text to be aligned center. And the text decoration, the reason for this is we add none so that our text does not have these lines. So those lines there, so that we don't have those lines. That's the reason why we added text decoration none. And then we want padding at the top, about 12 pixels from the top. Cool. So this is what we have so far. It's how it looks. You've got your different elements, animals, map, places. So this is because we've got 3. So let me show you if we removed one element how it would look. So you see, it's now like this. So this is taking up 33%, 33%, 33%. Then we add 1. Let's undo it. Let's see if we add 1, what happens, so we can understand the reason we have the code. So you see how contact does not show up at all. So now we'd have to come here and see our width. So see now it moves back a bit. So let's see how this looks. That's 20 pixels. So 2550, 2550. Oh yeah. So let me explain what this is doing, okay? So you see how they are evenly spaced. They're evenly spaced because here we want each element to take up a width of 25%. But now, depending on how many elements you have in your tab top, you need to calculate to say, if I've got 3 out of 100%, what would be the equal way to distribute 100% from 3 elements? So they said 33. So 33, 33, 33. So it will take up a width of 33 for 3 elements each, right? Now, if you have the 4th element, you now need to calculate that, okay, if it's 4 elements, 25% would make up 100 if we've got 4. So 25, 50, 75, 100. So if we've got 4 elements, the width must be 25 for each. Yes, you need to make sure you divide it equally. That way, all your elements are now equal. So you see, all our elements here are equal. The moment we remove 1, if we remove 1 element, as soon as we remove 1 element and go back to the site, we'll see there'll be an empty space because this is now taking up a width of 25% for this whole element, and now it's missing 125%. So equally distributing it was 33%. So if we put 33%, each element will take a width of 33% and distribute it across nicely. So that's why we added that there. Cool. So we are now done with our tabs at the top. We're done with these tabs. This is how it would look. Pine City Zoo, you've got animals, map, and places. And we're done. Now we want to move to the next. Wait, everyone is still following, right? We're still together. Let me show the code again. So all we did is we added this tabs top, we positioned it fixed, gave it 80 pixels. So now let me show you something here quickly. You see how we had the height here to be 80 pixels, right? Here we added 80 pixels because we know our height of this element ends at 80 pixels. So this element will start at 80 pixels. If we made this element 40 pixels, let me just put it above. Let's see how that would look quickly. Do you see how now it's above this? Because we have it on the same, because you see this is 40 pixels, but this takes up entire 80 pixels. So now it will be above the element because we are now saying that you must only be 40 pixels from the top. So the reason we added 40 pixels, or we added 80 pixels for the positioning, is so that it starts exactly where the previous element ends. So currently we're taking up a space of 80 plus, how many pixels is our width here? Plus 40. Okay, so currently this space has taken up 80 pixels plus 40 pixels. So let's move on to the next part. Are we doing all the lessons? They look very easy, hence I was trying to go through most of them. Maybe we might end somewhere like lesson, we might do lesson 7 tomorrow. Lesson 7, 8. Oh, there are actually a lot of lessons. Where do you guys feel it would be best to end? The default Z index number is 0. Where do you guys think would be best to end, or do you want to go through the entire thing? Because we've got 12, what? How many lessons do we actually have? No, there's actually a lot of lessons. What? I did not see that. Got 21 lessons. We've got 21 lessons. Let's end it at 8. Yeah, let's maybe do 8 or 7. Let's do 8 or 7. 10 would be a bit of a stretch as well. Then tomorrow we can continue. I might start it a bit early. Might start it a bit early tomorrow. But yeah, let's end it at 8. So currently we are still at. We finished with 5. So we're now at 6. So we're at 6 now. Let's continue. Let's do 6 so we can finish. Now the next part they want us to add here is, oh, why is it doing this? They want us to edit our bottom tabs. Okay, they want us to edit our bottom tabs. YouTube, are you guys fine where we ending? On TikTok they said lesson 10, but I'm saying 8 would be better because it's 21 lessons. At least we can spread it out through the week. Yeah, so we can spread it out through the week itself. Thank you so much for the hot meat, Team Pablo. I appreciate it. Okay, let's continue, guys. What is it? Yeah, we're on lesson 6, right? Okay, so lesson 6 now says we need to style our bottom tabs. We need to style our bottom tabs. So to do that, let's now add, yeah, we'll have something to work on during the week at least. Let's now add hashtag tabs bottom. And then we want to have a fixed position. This thing is end of lesson 7. I think 8 would also be fine. Okay. Are these lessons about responsive web app design? It's about almost everything. But yes, there's also a responsive web design. Cool. So it wants us to add a fixed position. Okay, fixed position, and where are we? No, that's top. Did we add this? Lesson 5. We done lesson 5, right? We missed lesson 5. So we're on lesson 5 actually. So lesson 5 says we just need to add styles to our main home. So to do that, we add hashtag main home, and the only style we're adding is a margin top of 120 pixels. So now the reason we're adding 120 pixels is because if we notice here, we have taken up a space of 120 pixels. So we've taken up from here being 80 pixels plus 40 pixels. So this would be behind if we don't have a margin top of 140 pixels. But now this is why we've added 120. So if you say 80 plus 40, that's 120. That's why we've added a margin top of 120 pixels. That's all we need so that we've got the spacing, and here it is, just like that. Cool. The next part, definitely just search on YouTube. This also works as a start. You can watch the lessons on App Academy from the start or from my channel as well, and just see how it started. And you can also register on IT Varsity's website. Cool. So the next part is now lesson 6. We're doing the bottom tabs. So to do the bottom tabs is, we've got in our file here called, we've got something called, okay, my place disappears, but it's set at 33.3. Put it at 33 exact, or try and put it at 30 pixels, 30%. Cool. So now we're doing tabs bottom. So we're using this ID tabs bottom to style it, right? So it's hashtag tabs bottom. Okay, and then in here we want to add a fixed position. So we're basically following the same thing we did before with the other tabs. So adding a fixed position, and where we're adding this position, we want it to be at the bottom. So we're saying that from the bottom you need to position 0 from the bottom, and then left 0. Okay, then the Z index again would be a Z index of 500. But I see if they're all 500, you do not need to have a Z index at all. Maybe only for the header itself, but I see it's adding 500 here as well. Width, the width would be 100% of the entire element. So you want to take a width of 100% of the entire element. Of the entire element, sorry. Cool, let's continue. That's why I understood, because of it, they don't even. Lady B said what? Oh, I'm happy you're understanding BQ Pro. Okay, let's continue. So we've now done a width, and we want to have a height, right? So you can set the height to whatever you feel is comfortable, but we can set the height at 40 pixels. So the bottom will take up a height of 40 pixels. That's how long it will be, or how tall it will be. And the background color, we can have it as forest green. So let's see how this looks so far. So now you see this positioned itself at the bottom of the screen because it's a footer, and there is our forest green background. So that's what this has done. It's positioned it a fixed position again, meaning it does not move. Then we're adding bottom, meaning if you say bottom 0, you're saying go to the bottom and place yourself 0 bottom. If you said top 0, it would be top, exactly at the top. Okay, I'm so to ignore that previous. Okay, perfect. Cool, we're done with the bottom. Now we want to edit the actual links. You see these two hyperlinks that we have here? We want to style them, because you see how these look at the top. We want to style these as well. So to style these, we can do hashtag tabs bottom, hashtag tabs bottom, and we want to look at the hyperlinks. So if we go to our index.html, we'll see we've got tabs bottom, and in tabs bottom we want to edit both of these A's. So we can just say one hyperlink, which is A, and we can make our changes. So let me just scroll up so I'm not hiding it. Thank you so much, Miss A. Okay, cool. The next part is we need to float on the left, then have a display block again. Okay, someone sent an email. don't know how to do it without showing. I don't want to leak my email address again. Okay, give me 2 seconds. Did that just freeze actually? No, I won't show the email because I'll be showing my email address and I don't want to show my personal email address. It's fine, let's continue. I'll look at your email, but for now let's continue. Can't leak my email address. Okay, so we were on display. So we've added a float. What's this thing doing now? Now we want to have a display block. Okay, then the width will be 50%. Now remember I did explain the difference. So up there we had 33% because we had 3 elements. So divided equally from 100 would have been 33.33. But okay, no problem. So 50% is because we've got 2 elements. So we're saying 50-50. Take up 50% of the width for both. So 50-50 makes 100 because we know we've got 2 elements. Okay, then the height would be 35 pixels. So remember here we've got 40 pixels our max, then 35 pixels is within, okay, is within the range of 40 pixels. So we're just taking up 35 pixels. Then again some font weight of 700, and then you've got text color. Can make this white, then align the text center. Is it? I'm using VS Code. Okay, then the next part is your text decoration. Text decoration we want it as none, so that it removes those lines that the hrefs normally come with. So there's no text decoration. Then I see it, they said padding top none, but I feel like we need to add some padding because you see how it's touching the top. So I think we need to add maybe 10 pixels. See how it looks. There, that looks much better. Okay, and that's lesson 6 done. So we've done the entire tabs bottom, we've done our header, and we've done our tabs top. So this is the site that we have. This is how it looks. We now need to fix this in the middle. So everyone is still following. Okay, now we're on lesson 7, the animal. Oh no, lessons, we done lesson 6 or lesson 7, the animals page. No, I think we need to fix this. This map needs to show up correctly. Yeah, I think it shows much better because it says we're done. This is done with the home page, but it's fine. Just removed the width 100 so that it fills up the entire, and you see how it's scrollable within, so it scrolls within. Cool, let's continue. Now we're on animals page, so now we need to create a new. What did I do to the map? So we had this width 100, right? All I did is I removed this width 100 so the map can show up on the entire screen. Okay, let's continue. We're now on the animals page. Okay, so let's open up this explorer again, click outside, like in this empty space, and then new file. Our new file would be animals.html. 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 Please go back to style.css. Here's the style.css. So we created a new file called animals.html because we want to now do our animals page. Okay, can we continue? So what we can do is we can copy our entire index.html, right? Copy the entire index.html, paste it in animals.html. Okay, paste it in animals.html, and then all we need to do now is we need to remove this main home. Remove this main home and name this animals so that you specify that this is the animals page. Okay, so where we had that main home, what we'll do here is we'll do another div, and this div will have an ID of main. Okay, ID of main. Just make sure it's closed. What's the name? Bridget, you can try and use Sublime Text as well. It's another IDE. Sublime Text. Okay, cool. Now we want to do our main, right? So we've created a div called with ID main, and then inside here we have another div with an ID content. So this is what will be in our main, our main div. Okay, so we want to add a hyperlink, and this hyperlink needs to have a class. So we want this to be an info box, and it should link you nowhere for now. Okay, and this info box would have an image, so make sure it's in the hyperlink. Inside the hyperlink we need to add an image, right? We need to add an image, and the image we are adding is the next arrow. So we'll say images / next arrow.png, right? Is the width supposed to be 100% for the main page background picture? There's no main page background picture. There's a header and What is that? Ah, the music doesn't want to play, but cool. Yeah, so you can keep it at 100% and see what it does. Ish, where was I now? Oh yeah, next arrow. So we're adding a next arrow, and we just want to have a class as well. So when I give it a class name of right. So the reason we're adding this class name of right is so that when we reference it in our CSS, we know that this is the right arrow. This is the right arrow. Okay, the next part is adding one more image, and this will be an image of an element. I mean, of an elephant. What did you remove first? Did you remove the main page? Yes, so this is, I copied this entire thing and I removed the main home. I removed this. I copied the entire element, removed this, and added it in animals.html. Okay, cool. So we'll add an image here. You don't need source set. So the image we're adding is images/elephant tn. So let's see how this image looks. So we're adding this, guessing it's a thumbnail, tn thumbnail. Then we're also adding the next arrow. This is how the next arrow will look, like this. Okay, so those are the two elements we've added here. So here we'll just say elephant thumbnail. Cool. Then we also need to have an h3 called elephant. So this is the text of an elephant, and then we want to add a paragraph. They said gentle giants of the jungle. Gentle giants of the jungle. So those are the elements we added, and that was all. If we go back, or if we open up our animals.html on our browser, this is how it would look. So you see it's hidden there, it's hidden behind this, so we need to now fix up the CSS. Oh, can this play? Okay, there we go. How? Okay, perfect. We're now on animals.html, right? So we've created animals.html, we copied the entire index.html and added it in here. We removed main home in animals.html and added this. So we added a main div with content. We added an info box, and in the info box, which is a hyperlink, we added an image of the right arrow, the thumbnail of the elephant, the heading, which is elephant, and the text of the elephant itself. That's all we needed to do in our HTML. Now let's go to our CSS and update this. So now CSS, by the way, now on lesson 8. So is everyone fine? Lesson 7, have we all followed this part? All we're adding that's new is this. Yeah, boy. Yes. Okay. Perfecto. Let's continue. Let's go to our CSS, and in our CSS we want to add um, another element we're styling. So now we're on lesson 8, right? So we're now styling our main. So hashtag main. Okay. And in hashtag main, we want a margin top of 119 pixels. Then we're adding the background. So the background image would be a map blur. So let's see how that looks. URL, and then single quotes images / map blur, and our background repeat would be on the y-axis this time. Okay, that's all we've added for main. Let's see how this looks so far. So this is the map blur. Okay, now we're adding the next part, content. So we want to edit now the content being this element itself. So I want to edit that. So content, remember it's hashtag because it's an ID. Then we'll do padding at the top, 1 pixel, and then padding at the bottom, 50 pixels. So let's see how that looks. So you see how it's added some padding. They just made one, and then this is padding at the bottom. You could add some padding on the right as well. So if maybe you thought padding on the right would look a bit nice, on the left, sorry, would look a bit nice, you would add padding on the left, maybe like 20 pixels, and it would move it a bit. So let's see how that looks. There you go. So you see it's moved it as well. So this is your elephant link. So it's just a blur, so it's what they did to make it look a bit interesting, you know. So yeah, that's all on lesson 8. We've added a margin top, added a background, which is the blur. We want it to be the blur map, and then we're repeating on the y-axis. Then the content, we're just adding some padding so that it looks a bit neater. And that's it for lesson 8. You can move to lesson 9. Is everyone still following? Can I ask that people just tap the screen if you're liking the content? I really appreciate it. If you're on YouTube, can you please just like? I really appreciate it. Yes, you hear snoring in the background. Aish. Let me see if I can fix this mic to hide background noises. Mic mode. I hope now I'm not low because I've now added on voice isolation. So the snoring hopefully should be gone. But yeah. Okay, I think we can continue, right? Since there's no questions, we can continue. Now we're on lesson 9. We want to style the animal page links. Okay, so this would be this info box. We want to style this. Okay, so the way we style this is we now want a.info box. So you could still just say .info box. They're using old CSS here, I think. Let's just say .info box because we've added a class, right? So just say .info box because we're calling a class name, and we can now start doing our edits. So the first edit is we don't want this white, I mean this lines on our I think we're ending on, it looks like we're ending on 10 because that would be, well, that would make more sense on 10. Yeah, let's end it on 10 because we're literally almost done. Then we'll have 10 more to do because we're on 9. 9 will be very quick. So when I remove the text decoration, you see this lines and all that. So we can just say text decoration. Thank you so much, guys, for the follows. I appreciate it. Text decoration none. Oh, someone got a universe. Cara. Damn. Damn. Okay. The next part is we want to add a background, and this time we're using RGBA. So RGBA is red, green, blue, alpha. So to make the way we make up colors is we use red, green, and blue, RGB, alpha being transparency, so how transparent it is. So RGBA 255 comma 255 comma 55. So this is the link or then the code for yellow, and then we want to change the transparency to a dot 8. So 0.8 for transparency, and let's see what that done. So that adds that here. Subnet mask. No, it's not a subnet, but I get you. 255.255.255. Yeah, okay. Then we want the width. Want to change the width of it 90%. So take up 90% of our parent element. Okay. Then the height. We want our height to be 90 pixels. So we're just setting the height of the info box to 90 pixels. And hey, no, 100%, but yeah, can only like once, but it still does something. But thank you so much, guys. Cool. We've just done a height, and then the next part is doing a display block. Our margin auto, margin auto, and margin top. We have 12 pixels. That's actually, yeah, this code of theirs is very weird. Let's see how that looks. So this is how it looks right now. So it's added like a nice rectangle below the thumbnail. See, like this. This image is not sized correctly. Let's try and see why is that. Okay, that's better, but it's not repeating. No, it's fine. Yeah. So I've changed this to a repeat X because repeat Y. Ah, thank you so much, Millie. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. So the repeat Y was repeating on the Y axis but not allowing. So you saw that white, the space we had there, and it didn't look nice. So the reason I added repeat X is so it repeats it on the X axis instead, and then it fills up the white space. Cool. So that was the last part of these, but it's also not filling nice. Ugh, this does not look nice at all. Yo, this looks not nice at all. Mm, Okay, much better. But still, this is very ugly. This is very ugly. Okay, I've just added a height of 200 so that it fills up the space down there. Unless they did it at the end. But yo, that looked very ugly. Okay, so this is now lesson 10. Actually, let me see something. Oh, it looks a bit better. Ah, okay. So it will fix it up. Hey, I was very worried. I was very worried, yo. But I'll keep this as repeat X. Okay, so we can ignore this that I did. I was too impatient. So ignore that. Just change this to repeat X. Change this to repeat X, and then let's continue. We're now on lesson 10. This will be our last one. Last one for today. No, they made it 255, 255, 55. Not 255, 255, 255. It's 255, 255, 55. Okay, let's continue. Now, after this lesson, it takes how many hours? It can go to 3 hours. Normally, we do like 3 hours, but I see there's a lot. So, and I'm trying to think if we can keep it for the next lesson, it would be better to make it transparent whitish. Yeah, that also works. We can go with that. So I think you can go to whatever you feel is looks much better for you. Because on their code they wrote 55, but yours makes sense. When tomorrow? Tomorrow 8 o'clock again, but it might be 7. Just depends on how quick where you lost BQ. Okay, now we're editing our image in our info box. My arrow is stuck in the same place. Like where mine is. Yeah, leave it as is. Leave it as is. We're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. So what we're doing now is we're actually getting to that. So we'll say info box and we want the image from info box. Okay. Then we're setting a height and height of 70 pixels. The margin will be 10 pixels and float left. This is very old using float because we'd be using flexbox to actually position our elements nowadays. So float is very old actually. But let's continue. So we've just done this. So this is now making changes to info box being this element and image. So it's gonna do to both of these. Yes, so it's normally 2 hours, 3 hours, and then people can ask questions before I bounce. Okay, so now we're done with that part and we want to change our h3. So it's info box and we want our h3. So in our h3 we'll remove padding, have a padding of 0, remove the margin at the bottom, and set the width to 90%. You can press Control A to select all the text, all the code. Control A. If you're on Mac, Command A. Let's continue. we're doing our H3, right? So we did padding 0, margin bottom 0, and want our width to be. You can learn it on YouTube, or you can attend the FNB App Academy. Uh, just search for FNB App Academy IT Varsity, and you can register with IT Varsity because the registrations are closed. Then you can go on YouTube. FNB App Academy is there. My YouTubes are also there for all the lives. You can just try and learn from there and join our lives as well. Yeah, so we're having a width of 90%, so we're only taking up 90%, and we want to change the color of the text. The color they gave us here is 572800, which is brown. So it's a certain brown. So let's see how that looks so far. So you see, this is what it's done. So it's put them together and change the color of the text to brown. So this is what the float done. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I want you guys to understand that's the reason why I started the lives. Okay, so now we've done our H3, right? So this changes the specific, this one, to whatever we done here. So we just removed padding and margin, made the width 90%, and set a color. Now, I hope I'm not blocking it. Actually, I am. Oh, there we go. Now, the next part is we need to do our paragraph. Yes, I work as a software developer. Okay, cool. Now we need to just make changes to this one, this paragraph. So to do that, again, dot info box, we want our P element, and then the changes we want to make is margin 0, padding 0, and then we have width at 90% also. And the color here is what, 131313. What color is that? Okay, that's it. Yes, you can try to borrow it if you can. Okay, cool. So we've added a color. Let's see how that looks. So this is how it looks now, right? But obviously this element, this needs to move to the right hand side. It needs to move to the right hand side. So how do we move it to the right hand side? We'll have info box again. Info box, we want dot right. So the way they did it on this code, they said img dot right. You don't have to put img. You can just say dot right. You don't even have to put info box. You can just say dot right because it's a class. So you can say dot right. So this will now edit this specific picture only. This specific picture with the class name right. So when we do our changes, it will make changes to that. So we want to float. So float is now changing the positioning of this element. We want it to be on the right side, right? So right, we want the margin at the top about 25 pixels, and the height of the entire image to be 40 pixels. So just doing that has moved it there and changed the height to 40 pixels. So we've added dot right being this class. You do not have to add it because you already have a class name. So you could just have it just like this because it's the only dot right. So you can have dot right, and you're floating it to the right. So you want it in the element to move to the right hand side. You're adding a margin at the top of 25 pixels, and the height of the entire image must be 40 pixels. And yeah, yes, you can learn these on Free Code Camp as well. And just like that, you've got this. What happened? Oh, no, that doesn't make sense. Oh, it's a class within a class. That's what that info. Okay, there we go. So it's a I'm not a web developer, but I just know web. Cool. Please explain steps for the right move. Oh, okay. So the reason you see, if we don't have this right, this is all in the left because in the previous one we said float left, meaning everything in the info box floats to the left hand side. Okay. So we want to move it to the right. So to move it to the right, it's dot info box. Oh, what's that sound now? And we want dot right because we gave it a class name of right dot right. Then we want the float, we're floating it to the right hand side. Okay, float right, and then the margin top 25 pixels, and you're just giving it a height of 40 pixels. Then just like that, it's moved itself to the right. It's a 40 pixels image and it's got a margin top of 25 pixels. Then this will be the element. So what would happen is we'd click on this and it will give us more info. So that's the next lesson. For now, we'll stop it right there. Any quick questions before I end it? So I can also sleep. I've got work tomorrow. But yeah, we actually did quite good today. Actually ended early today. Normally end like at 12. Oh. Mm, so you coding again tomorrow? Yeah, so I work as a developer, but I'll be coding again tomorrow. I'll be any questions guys on YouTube, TikTok? How do I close this? Do I have any questions? What time tomorrow? So just be on the lookout from 7. Be on the lookout from 7. I'm thinking of going from 7, but the actual time is 8. I must make sure I'm live from 8 o'clock. So just be on the lookout from 7. For now, we're going to use GitHub. Just yeah, we're gonna use GitHub. So I thought the lesson was actually short. I didn't see the entire lesson. So the entire lessons. So what we'll do is once we finish, we'll definitely go through GitHub before sleep. Yeah, 100%. We'll definitely go through GitHub as well, pushing this onto GitHub. Maybe we'll do it tomorrow morning. Tomorrow afternoon, evening. Yeah, tomorrow evening. Yeah, so we'll do it tomorrow evening, and then we'll quickly maybe push what we've got onto GitHub and then continue from there. Thank you for the follow. Yes, guys, if you want to be notified, it's 8 p.m. 8 p.m. 8 p.m. So 8 p.m. we live at 8 p.m. I might be live from 7, but hence I'm saying just be on the lookout from 7 p.m. But the normal time, the actual start time should be 8 p.m. So I might be live from 7. Explaining what those pieces of code does is really light. No, it really helps because if you just write and you don't know what does what, it's hard to learn. So at least if someone is there to help you guys actually say this does this, if you change this, this is the reasoning and all that. So that was the idea I came about to actually do this lives. And yeah, yo, I've got quite a few people that watch, and thank you everyone for watching. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Shane. Please scroll up, still completing the info box right. Oh, sorry. Info box right. Oh, there you go. But cool. 100%. No, it's only a pleasure. Yeah, I was also here at some point, but I had YouTube to help me. Had to watch and research everything on YouTube. So, ish, why now? Yeah, so this will be recorded. You'll find this on our YouTube channel. This will be saved on YouTube. So it's at Simphiwe Radebe underscore underscore. Yes, so Koluma Simphiwe, my comes with the game that I deleted. What game? What's SPCK? What's that? What is that? Yeah, so you can find it on YouTube. Let me check yours now actually. Check your email now. Oh, I don't have the account here. Okay, I'll have to check it on the Mac. But yeah, I'll check it on the Mac and then I'll definitely reply to you just now. Spec editor for Android. Oh, I haven't used it. I'm also on iPhone, so I haven't used it. Oh, perfect. Thank you, Masikana. Thank you guys. I'll see you guys tomorrow. I appreciate all the tabs, the gifts, follows, the views. Thank you to everybody for joining. I'll see you guys tomorrow, 7 p.m. Be on the lookout, but official start time 8 p.m. 8 p.m. is the official start time. Thank you guys. Enjoy the rest of your night. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Goodbye.